That's good.
Well, how you doing?
Are we on?
We're on. Everything's on. Everything's
doing over there?
recording.
This is jerry rigged if I've ever seen something.
Isn't it? Isn't it? In the
Yeah.
studio. I mean, but isn't all recording?
If there isn't a mess, you're not getting anything done. That's what, I don't understand these people who are always so well kempt in everything that they do. How do you live? How do you live? There's a crumb. There's a crack of crumb.
I saw something on
the other end of the countertop, and I can't believe how do you sleep?
Oh, I know the type.
I seriously get that all the time from Hank.
Yeah, no, he did. Okay. Well, I saw this on Twitter where he's like, "Welcome to my weird, messy office," and I was like, I feel like that's a sign of intelligence. Messy office. I mean, yeah. No, not like dirty. There's a difference.
There's a difference between something that. It's a place that smells really bad and a place that has a few cracker crumbs here and there. There is a difference because cracker crumbs don't become fed in.
Wait, not the stench.
I like to try to keep my body clean, but my hair messy. That's kind of my...
It had a stench to it. Okay, I have a movie that you haven't seen, I don't think.
What on Blu-ray or what do you mean?
I didn't.
4K?
It could be. I don't know if this ever. They should make it on Blu-ray. Wizard of Oz 2.
Oh no, I've seen it.
You have?
It haunted my childhood.
Okay. Oh my God, I'm so glad that you said that because people don't know about this.
Remember the head scene?
That's what it terrified me.
Oh, that was. I still remember it from childhood.
I'm super glad that you said that because I had like nightmares about it.
Yeah, and the chick that was in that, she was
probably ruined her career.
No, she was in a bunch of movies. She was in Valmont. Okay. And then she was in Waterboy. She was in a number of.
She was the chick in Waterboy.
Yeah,
you're right.
She looks so much like one of my cousins. She looks like a black-haired version of one of my cousins. Like, oh my gosh, I'm forgetting her name. It's like
she played that role.
French name.
Yeah, no, I don't. I mean, because
she was a hot actress in the '90s.
Dude,
she was She was sort of like the alternative actress, along with Winona. They were the two alternative actresses, I feel like, in the early.
Yeah, Winona was that. I remember Winona Ryder got caught like stealing.
Oh,
that was a bad era. But hold on, back to Wizard of Oz too. I was reminded of that off Twitter. Thank God for Twitter.
Yeah.
I thought I came in and I was like, well, I really liked Wizard of Oz 1. I remember like watching that as a child and being like, this is like my favorite movie.
Yeah.
And then Wizard of Oz 2, and I had this really big expectation.
Yeah.
And I think I watched it when I was like 8 years old, and I did not know what I was like confused and scared.
Yeah.
And I felt alone. And I went back I was like, it made such an impression on me that I went back to watch it like 10 years later when I was an adult. And actually really enjoyed it.
Yeah, it was probably way more interesting as an adult.
And it became like a cult, and then I realized it was like a cult classic.
Yeah, and it started her career. I'm trying to think of her name. She's a really good actress. Have you ever seen Valmont?
No,
she's one of the main characters in Valmont, and she is just fantastic. I love that movie.
Okay, what was that about?
1989. It's about. I think it's about it's like Dangerous Liaisons type of thing. 1700s France.
I love that era. You know what it reminds me of? Like Count of Monte Cristo. That whole.
Oh yeah.
When I think of that, I think of that movie, and I really love that movie. So anything on there just like hits for me because
people know how good that movie is now.
Right.
It's sort of like The Mummy.
Okay.
The Mummy, people
but
know.
But was The Mummy good?
No, it is a fantastic movie, and
okay.
Because
I felt like it was like nostalgically.
It's more than that. It's if you watch it today, it is wonderful, and I see bumper stickers all the time where people they playfully put these on their car that say, "I'd rather be watching the cinematic masterpiece starring Brendan Fraser and Rachel Weisz that is known as The Mummy." Or
I
some
really
rewording of that.
I love Brendan Fraser. You kind of see what he's went through.
Fraser.
Yes, Fraser.
He's very particular on that. It's Brendan.
Is that
Fraser.
because the show Frasier?
I think maybe
had nothing to do with him.
I don't know. Maybe Americans say Fraser just out of habit, but
Frasier.
Yeah, but it's Fraser. He's very.
Yeah. Well, some people say that movie ruined his career.
Oh gosh, that's the stupidest thing I've ever heard. It made his career.
Well, he became the guy, the mummy guy.
I mean, he
could never do another movie.
He was one of the most handsome Hollywood stars.
What happened?
In my opinion, he was one of the most handsome Hollywood stars.
He was.
In 1999, Brendan Fraser, like, come on, nobody could touch how hot he was.
Why didn't
not even Brad Pitt?
Why didn't he keep that?
I think he had a lot of marital woes.
Yeah, you get money.
He liked to eat. He liked to eat. He lost his hair.
He did lose the hair.
And
you think he could fix that, being as rich as he was?
The other thing is he didn't do enough films that were considered cinematic.
Yeah, like Oscar worthy.
Yeah, he never did anything like that, and I think
he never did like The Green Mile with Tom Hanks,
which sucks ass.
I'm so glad you said that. I thought that was a terrible
so
movie.
bad. Yeah, exactly.
It's stupid.
I mean, but everybody knows that sucks now.
I like the big black guy, Michael Clark.
Yeah.
See, he was like my favorite in the movie.
Oh, I mean,
otherwise the movie was so boring. And I get it, like Tom Hanks is just like some special gift from us from God. Every time Tom Hanks is in a movie, I'm just like, can we not watch it? I'm just kidding.
I mean, he is a very important actor though, and he has done some great films.
And no, you're right. I'm hating.
I
love Castaway.
Yeah,
but
Castaway's a
remember
classic.
we watched Saving Private Ryan.
It's not as good as it was.
Every scene that I'm just like they're
ago.
trying to make it like so sentimental, and I'm just like, I don't believe you.
It's not nearly. I mean, my favorite war movie as of late is actually kind of Full Metal Jacket, and that's a little bit of a controversial opinion.
Why do you like? Because I love Kubrick. That's actually one of my least watched Kubrick films, even though I'm obsessed with every film. Of course, I've seen it twice, but I would love to see what you think about it because I'm obsessed with Kubrick.
Well, I just think that it has a really good balance of psychological and then action.
Yeah.
And I actually, contrary to what some people believe about that film, I think that the action scenes in Vietnam are actually really good. And I enjoy them.
They're really long scenes.
Yeah.
There's like the one battle scene is like 30 minutes long.
Right.
They're like walking through which was interesting.
And some people say
Apocalypse Now wasn't like that.
No. Apocalypse Now is also one of my favorite war films. Yeah. I think Full Metal Jacket and Apocalypse Now are probably my two favorite in terms of modern war films.
Well, tell me what you liked about, because what I know about Apocalypse Now, obviously the first part of it is iconic. I remember I worked at Starbucks in Los Angeles, and the guy that was the sergeant would always come through. You look like you can suck a golf ball through a garden hose.
Oh yeah, he's wonderful.
Yeah, he wasn't even going to be the guy, but he was so good.
He's a military man.
Yeah, he was trying to train the actual actor, and they fired him and actually hired him, which is a crazy story. So he was super nice. He came in a Cobra and would always get a coffee. So I remember the first part really well.
So I'm obsessed with him. That's one of the reasons why Full Metal Jacket is so good. I find him absolutely hilarious. Everything he says.
Yeah.
I'm just thinking to myself, man, that's
who wrote that?
It's brilliant.
I know.
I actually don't know.
I think he did. I think he riffed some of it.
Probably.
But I'm interested in your own opinions about the second half, which is obviously the point of the movie. What it was? I mean, it's showing, he had to kill the girl. Spoiler alert! He had to kill the girl in the end. Like, what is it about? Even I'm still trying to figure out what Kubrick was trying to say.
I think he's trying to say that war sucks.
Yeah.
But it is what it is.
Right.
And you have to kind of just do what you have to do, and it's terrible. But I'm pretty sure that's what he was trying to say. I don't necessarily think it was an anti-Vietnam movie like Platoon might be considered. It wasn't necessarily anti.
Okay.
It was just this is just something that we have to go through.
Because everybody was like, it's like this statement, but maybe it wasn't what people thought.
Yeah, I mean, I recently watched it. I don't know that it's necessarily anti-war.
Right.
That's kind of my opinion.
Yeah.
I think he left it neutral at the end.
Kubrick never really had hard. He always had statements, but they were kind of like he left it up to you in a way.
Oh, I mean, yeah, of course.
I think
very enigmatic.
You see the end of it, and he kills the girl, but she had the gun.
Oh, yeah.
And she lifted it to him. So it's like
it's a hard scene to watch, but she also was destroying their platoon.
I know. It was just like at the end, you think it's just some soldier, and it was just this girl. That's actually I never connected that dot. But I wanted to. Me and you are both Star Wars guys. Mm-hmm. Okay.
Yeah.
I have some interesting thoughts about what the prequels did. I really liked when you get on about it.
Oh gosh.
Because I think that like some of the lines that I didn't think were funny when you say them, I was like, oh, that is kind of funny. So we're gonna watch a couple prequel compilations that people put together. I got 3 set up.
Okay.
And I just kind of want to get your raw opinion on some of it, the acting. What do you think Lucas was trying to say? And we're going to start with just kind of our classic Anakin's acting. It's not pretty.
General Grievous, you're shorter than I expected.
Easy, R2.
5,000. Hold on. This whole operation was your idea. All because of your training.
Okay, I gotta stop right there. The delivery isn't like good, right? I mean, it's like, it's just even that. That's not even the cringe compilation. It's like it's hard to watch a bit.
I think you have to keep in mind the intention of the film.
Right.
The style is meant to be sort of like a 1930s film.
Interesting.
Yeah, it's really not. It's not meant to be an edgy, modern acting film.
Where the acting is so good.
No, it's not meant to be Fight Club, which was kind of around the same era, right? I mean, it was within a few years. That wasn't the intention. So first of all, I do not.
That is like
Phone
actually
call.
an interesting way to look at it, because you always think it has to be like,
Hey, I'm doing a little podcast right now. Let me call you in a second. All right.
Hey, Hank, really quick. Let's get Hank's. Hank, what's your favorite scene in the prequels? Just off the top of the head.
Oh, scene in the prequels. Jeez Louise. I really like. Let's see here. I like the starfighter scene. In episode 1 when they're taking on the Trade Federation.
When he's like, now I got him.
Yeah, exactly.
What about when the part, Hank, when he said, I killed him all. They were animals.
Yeah, I'm into it.
Yeah.
I love you, Hank. We'll call you in a bit.
All right, love you too.
All right, I'll call you in a bit.
Okay, bye.
So
I gotta get his.
So first of all, it's meant to be like a 1930s film or serial or something like that. Second of all,
I guess that's true.
Yeah,
the delivery sounds just like.
It's meant to be almost Shakespearean without the poetry, right?
Okay. Because
So keep
Lucas
that in mind.
would have been much more familiar with that period and probably was influenced by.
He was hugely influenced by old Hollywood stuff, right?
Exactly.
And then the other thing is, I do not blame Hayden Christensen for anything.
That's what they wanted him to do.
George Lucas wrote these lines, and no one edited them.
What? Nobody,
No.
He really was the final buck, huh?
That would be like telling God, "Hey, can you rewrite the 10 Commandments?" I don't know. I don't know about that. They just couldn't do it. Should they have done it? Yes.
Yeah.
He
a couple times maybe.
Well, he needed. If the prequels had been everything that they should have been, George Lucas would have. They needed to find basically a script editor.
Okay, because he was walking around like God at that point.
Well, nobody's going to question him because he's
You're
the
not
he's
going
the
to.
greatest genius
Hey,
in Hollywood.
George, I think
You don't want to lose that job because that job is the best job that you will ever get. It is
You're
the
working
dream
on
job.
Star Wars.
You're working for Lucasfilm.
I guess that
You're not. There is nothing better. You've reached the ceiling.
yeah, and of course in the 90s Hollywood was untouchable and everybody had so much money. I think you're right. It's like because of that was its issue, if you will. Because I mean, everybody knows there's a lot of problems with the prequels. And there's been so many videos and exposés and commentaries done on why the prequels weren't as good as they should be. But now they've come back to have a lot of love after the latest releases.
Yes.
And why do you think that is?
Well, I think it's simple comparison. Everybody knows that the new Star Wars releases are horrendous, starting from the very first one.
The first one kind of had a little potential.
I mean, I think when I first watched it, I said, okay, it's kind of a C plus B minus type of affair.
Yeah, even that.
But then you had people who were Star Wars fans saying, oh, it's an A plus.
All right. Well, everybody, we wanted to, that's the thing. We wanted to
You're
drink
so
the Kool-Aid.
desperate.
Oh, I did.
Yeah, so
Dude,
desperate.
when I saw the trailer, the first trailer, there was this comment, and I remember it really stuck with me, and it said, "This better be good because this trailer is so good that this is dangerous. How much we want this movie to be good." And I knew right there when I read that, and I was like, "There's just no way."
I didn't think it was that good. I
that's when like the woke stuff first started to. I'm not even trying to get like the woke ruined it, but it's just like that.
We won't go there. There's been so much talk about how the new movies.
Everybody's done that.
It's been done. I mean, they're just clearly bad. Hindsight is 20/20.
Right.
When you can go back and watch that movie as a kid that you hated, and then but you still have this inkling to watch it again.
Yeah.
This desire to watch. That's what the prequels are for me. That's what the prequels are, because there is so much good there. The thing about the prequels that I love, despite the flaws, which we will get into, is that it has the DNA of GL. And if you don't have the DNA of GL, like all the modern Disney movies, without George Lucas's DNA, it ain't Star Wars. That's news for Disney.
Oh, that's so true.
They're recouping. I mean, they've made a lot of money.
Yeah.
At
They
least
didn't do as well as I thought.
Well, no, but for a
Because
while.
the Blu-rays didn't sell as well.
Oh, of the new films.
Of the episode 9, yeah. I'm gonna play a couple more of these. I want to get a little bit more of your opinion. We're
Probably
gonna watch
not just of episode 9.
Anakin Cringe.
Okay.
Bad acting part 2 here.
All right.
Hey guys, this is and we love Hayden.
Are you an angel? An angel. I heard the deep space pilots talk about them. They're the most beautiful creatures in the universe. They live on the moons of Viego, I think. I listen to all the traders and star pilots who come through here.
Okay, thoughts on his performance as a child. I remember as a kid being kind of weirded out.
So Jake Lloyd. Okay, there are a number of things I want to talk about here. First of all, Jake Lloyd is a legend.
Yeah.
For many reasons. The kid was in, I think, 3 movies total, maybe 4, but I think 3, basically 3 films.
And basically playing like the biggest role ever.
He is in 2 legendary films, Jingle All the Way with Arnold.
Oh, he was in Jingle
He's
All the Way.
He's the kid in Jingle All the Way. And
I'm
then
so stupid
in
for
Phantom Menace.
that.
Imagine being in like 3 films in your life,
Yeah.
and 2 of them are legendary.
Yeah.
Legendary blockbusters that people still watch to this day all the time.
So true.
I mean, he's batting 667.
Yeah.
That's incredible.
Yeah, that is huge.
So I will say that, and he's also infamous for his meltdown a number of years ago, and before his schizophrenic meltdown. That's a whole thing.
Why does that happen? We'll get into that later because I will look that up.
Before that, for I'm going to say 15 years of just Star Wars fandom in the 2000s and the 2010s, he was just so hilarious to listen to. Going to all the Star Wars conventions because he has a very dry sense of humor. He's an extremely intelligent guy, as far as I can tell.
And you're a kid going through that. You realize you were in like one of the most iconic films ever made.
Yeah, but he's also very jaded about it. And I think...
Why is that?
Because everybody said you ruined Star Wars.
Ah.
No, he got this for years and years. I mean, it was horrible.
That would mess me up.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, he made a lot of money. He became very famous.
Yeah.
He did what he wanted to do, which was act, but he paid a horrible price, and unfortunately, he became schizophrenic. I hope.
Wow,
I desperately hope that he's doing better. I mean, gosh,
they really do have a break in their 20s as child actors. It seems that they get to their mid-20s and break.
Well, I mean, what do you do after that? You've already achieved.
You've done it.
You've done it. Your life has already peaked, and it's just what do you do at that point? And he was a cute little kid. He looked extremely, extremely American.
Like an angel.
Yeah, he looked extremely
Who
American.
wrote that?
Okay, so once again, George Lucas writes this, right? I do have a problem with it in the sense that why did they choose Jake Lloyd? I don't know. In my opinion, this movie, Anakin Skywalker should have been 13. He should have been an adolescent.
Okay,
he
so
should not have been a 9-year-old.
Supposed to be 8 in this?
I think he's supposed to be 9, and I think Padme is supposed to be 13. But I think that what they should have done, if they wanted Padme to be older, they should have pretended. They still could have used Natalie Portman. But they should have pretended she was 17 or something like that.
Dude, you're so right.
And
if they would have made him so much more badass if he was just like becoming a teenager.
Yes.
Instead of just a little boy.
Because there's a little bit more there. There is the conflict of puberty itself.
Yeah.
There's
my God,
it's
you're so right.
that puberty can represent the change that he might be going through from this very
and he's like wanting her, and he's like beginning that because he just seems it's such a hard thing coming from Jake to Hayden. It's like, wait, this is the same person.
It's a big step, but it's also, I suppose, because they chose such a young actor, is more believable because you don't, you can believe the physical change.
Maybe that's why they did it.
It's
now this is pod racing.
So
I like the pod racing scene. Everybody hated it.
As I've told you, one of my favorite things, but we can get into that in a second. But as I've told you, one of my favorite things to watch, just period, in life is the episode 1 making of documentary.
Yes, you did say that. I was actually curious.
It is
that?
just utterly fascinating, entertaining to this day. So funny to watch, especially Rick McCallum.
And who's Rick again?
Rick's the producer.
Okay.
George is such a genius.
Okay.
I mean, we're gonna have one of the best movies that you can possibly imagine. This is the movie of the '90s.
Yeah.
Okay, he's
right. The Phantom Menace was.
He's from California.
Yeah, they kind of have the accent with it.
California.
Every syllable gets pronounced. Yeah.
Every single square inch of the screen is going to be covered in CGI. There's going to be so many details, so much information on screen, so many hot babes. Yeah,
he was the exec producer.
Yeah, so he's the producer, and watching him become so excited throughout the process of the making of film, and then watch the first full screening towards the end of the documentary, and he looks like he has just lost his salvation.
What? No.
He looks like his wife, his daughter, his sons all just died in a car crash, and he watches it. You see him stare at the screen, and and maybe his dog died too. Like, it was that bad. I mean, you watch his face after watching that first screening, and it is the most dejected, saddest look you've ever seen. Utterly lugubrious.
They did a doc of them watching the whole cast watch the movie.
Not the whole cast. No, it's basically the production team. It's Ben Burtt.
And this is his first time seeing it.
The full thing put together, and he is just absolutely hopeless.
What? What happened? Why was he so upset?
I think he realized that it had some major flaws that they could no longer fix.
Dude, imagine like having that much hope. Because as a producer, you're not the editor, you're not the director, you're not the writer. But you are the one with the faith in it, and
Well, you're the salesman. You're selling it.
And correct me if I'm wrong, but this was the biggest independent film ever made at the time.
That might be true. I think they did it for $50 million, right? I think was it $50 million?
I wish I knew the budget, but I do know that they were the biggest independent films.
I thought it was $50 million, but maybe it was 100. It wasn't compared to a budget today. It was nothing. But
I guess so.
I thought they tried to do it for 50. But
they must have grossed. They must have made their money back a million times. But,
oh, of course. I mean,
but you're saying that this is fascinating because I did not know. I'll have to watch this. Do you have it?
Oh, the doc?
You have it?
Oh, it's on YouTube.
I gotta watch this. Okay, so you're saying he was just sitting there, just like silent. I cannot.
Utterly melancholy. Yes, it's really funny. I just find his character so hilarious. I can't quite tell if he's gay or straight because he kind of comes off a little gay, but he's also got kids. He's just got such an interesting personality. You can't quite put your finger on it.
Yeah.
And then of course George, so happy-go-lucky, and there are all these things that go terribly wrong.
Oh my god!
One of my big questions during the making of it was, why did they choose Jake Lloyd?
Yeah.
And I love Jake Lloyd.
Yeah.
Love Jingle All the Way.
Yeah.
Just classic,
but those
American
movies
kid.
are a lot different from this.
Oh gosh, but you watch the other two kids that were the finalists out of the thousands of kids that they interviewed.
Yeah.
And first of all, this is the problem with trying to find a 9-year-old actor who's talented, which is essentially an impossibility outside of a few people.
You really have to have a coach for that.
Oh my gosh. Or you just have to be so precocious. Very, very unusual. But so there were 3 finalists. Jake Lloyd's one of the finalists. One kid is just, no offense, he's a complete dunce.
Yeah. And
he looks way too flimsy and small. He's just not correct for the part at all. There's Jake Lloyd, and he's sort of okay, but he's just this really quotidian kid, just run of the mill. And then there's this other kid who actually looks more like Luke Skywalker. He looks maybe not so much like Hayden Christensen, but he looks more like in the Skywalker line than Jake Woods. Certainly, he's got more blonde hair instead of the sort of.
I know, because he's
very,
such like
this
he's
is
like
very dirty blonde, kind of light brown.
Baby.
Exactly, and this other kid's a little older looking. Yeah. He's a little more he's more handsome.
Done that, dude.
And his acting was amazing.
Oh,
it was amazing.
You think like, what were they thinking?
He was really good, and I don't know who this kid is.
From top down, must have been an executive decision.
So it was from George, because George, he was, I think, Jake Lloyd's innocence, and in a sense the fact that his acting was not that good. It just made him seem more childlike. It was
more lovable.
For him, it was more Jake Lloyd was more lovable because
you were trying to do that.
This other kid was clearly better. I mean, you watch it, it's not even close.
I have to see that.
Oh, you have to see it.
It almost kind of breaks my heart. But like going back to it, there's a certain charm to it.
Are you an angel?
Natalie Portman. I mean, gosh, I think she is an angel.
Natalie is she was
everybody's
the most
crush.
Beautiful Jewish woman that ever lived. Is that? I hope that's not like bad to say.
No, it's not. Yeah. I'm a big fan of Scarlett.
Yeah,
she's half Jewish. I'm a big.
Oh, Johansson.
Yes, okay. She is one of my all-time favorite Hollywood babes.
She's really funny now.
Jennifer Connelly is my all-time favorite Hollywood babe.
Jennifer again?
Jennifer Connelly. I mean, Labyrinth. Hello.
Oh, I knew. Okay, that movie scared
we
me.
need to talk about her at some point. She's my all-time favorite Hollywood babe. She's half Jewish.
Did she do anything after that?
Oh my gosh, yes.
Okay.
She's had a great career, and then.
You need to. You get one more Jewish girl.
Okay, I get one more.
You get one more.
Rachel Weisz. I think she's half.
Who's that?
Rachel Weisz. She's in The Mummy. She's the chick in The Mummy.
Oh, okay. She's hot.
Oh.
Yeah, I do. I remember.
Hello.
I specifically remember being a little kid and like kind of wanting to watch it because Brendan, whatever. But I was like, okay, she's hot.
She's stunning.
All right, a little bit more.
Daniel Craig's wife now, by the way. Oh. I've seen her before, eye to eye. Walked by her condo in New York.
But she lost us betting on the pod races. I'm a person, and my name is Anakin. Hit the nose! Wouldn't have lasted long anyways if I wasn't so good at building things. I was glad to meet you too.
Those are hard lines.
Chesko Saboba. Chipoko Umen Gisa.
He has a boyish charm. He really does. I think.
Hi.
Hi there.
Your buddy here was about to be
very
turned into
relatable
orange
to
goo.
kids.
He picked a fight with a Doug, an especially dangerous Doug
And
called
he's
Saboba.
got a really nice sounding
Here,
voice
you'll like
too.
these palettes.
Yeah.
Here.
I'm trying to find the positive here.
I
You need to start looking on the
I
bright
know,
side.
you're right.
So Jake Lloyd, this
He
is the
never
thing. He's
reached
got
the
a great
outskirts
sounding
in
voice,
time.
better than those other
Sandstorms
actors.
are very,
He had a better
very
voice
dangerous.
than the
Yeah,
other
it
kids.
was so
Mom,
It's
I'm
a
home.
beautiful voice.
There's a
he has.
protocol droid.
And you
want to
love him.
I've been working on a
You
scanner.
do. He's got that
to
little
try and
mop
locate
top. I
mine.
mean, that's a
Any
very
attempts
cute.
to escape?
And they blow you up. Boom!
He made C3PO.
I saw your laser sword. Only Jedis
Oh, he's
carry
got
that
the
kind of
blue
weapon. No one can kill a Jedi. I think
This
you
is like
have.
episode 1.
Why else would you be here?
Yes.
I built a racer. It's the fastest ever. There's a big race tomorrow on Boonta Eve. You could enter
He's
my
got
pod.
such an interesting
Mom,
looking
you see
face,
the biggest
doesn't he?
problem in this universe
kind of a
is
little
nobody
pug
helps
nose.
each other. It wasn't my fault, really.
His head looks like a
Saboba
giant.
flashed
It's
me
that
with his
damn
vents.
haircut that they
I
made
actually
us all have
saved
in
the
the 90s.
pod.
Remember yours?
Mostly. It's working! It's working! I'm gonna be the first one to see them all.
I have the That was a cool scene.
What will happen to
Didn't
me
Hank
now?
say this was his favorite scene? We've saw Jake. I think honestly you've been really fair to him, and I like that because he needs that. But
Once again, George Lucas wrote it. Jake Lloyd didn't write it. He's just doing his job.
I want to get a little bit, and we have about 5 minutes left.
All right.
We're gonna look.
This is really funny.
We're gonna do a little bit on Hayden Christensen.
Okay.
I want to see. These are some of the harder scenes to get through. This is gonna be a lot of clones.
Okay.
But I want to see what you kind of think about this.
So handsome, my gosh.
Okay, really quick before Hayden,
Yeah.
Ewan.
Ewan.
Yeah, Ewan McGregor.
Yeah.
My Ewan. My
Ewok.
my favorite.
Yeah.
The thing that kind of saved the whole thing for me was him.
He was the voice of reason.
I love him. I just want to get your
seasoned
quick,
actor.
He really was. I want to get your kind of, what do you think about his performance? Why did they cast him? And do you think he really did justice to the character?
Absolutely. I think everybody thinks he did a good job portraying a younger Alec Guinness, and he brought to the table a lot of acting experience. He done Train Spotting, which was a very edgy, or at least at the time was a very edgy 90s film.
Yeah.
And I'm sure he'd done a couple other films, but I think Train Spotting is probably what got him this gig, because that was right around the time when he got hired for this.
Yeah. I really was that early?
Yeah, it was mid-90s.
I mean, because this movie made him. I mean,
absolutely.
He did so much after this.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
But
yeah.
you would kind of get the timelines mixed up, because you'd almost think not. Yeah, he's just such a joy to watch.
He is. He's the voice of reason.
Every time he goes on the screen, it makes the movie for me. So I think that's kind of universally agreed.
You fell into that night,
Gun dogs.
and I rescued you. Remember? Oh, yes.
I just want to say his voice is.
Remember? And I rescued you. Do you remember?
I don't know. He's hot. That's all I can say.
His voice is so. It's so like the candor, the timbre to it is so. It's
Look
so
at those cheekbones. My gosh.
Poignant, I know. So he actually came into. They had some type of, not a rally, but like some type of conference. He hadn't been seen on stage for years.
Oh wow.
The standing ovation.
Oh, people love
him.
People love him.
Was it? I mean, it made him cry on stage.
Yeah, he got a lot of crap during these movies because he was the pretty boy, and it was sort of like he was the Backstreet Boy of Hollywood for a few years there.
Right.
People just gave him a lot of crap, and they say, "Oh, he just got this gig because he looks good." But I think he did a fantastic job. I mean really
watching him like tear up to that, it was touching.
Yeah,
I honestly kind of like got emotional. I was like, wow, I didn't know that he thought like that.
Can I just point out about episode 2 here that this movie is so good for the first hour.
Yeah, it was just to get bad.
The first hour of this film is masterful.
Well, the ending, I never remember the ending, but I totally remember the first part.
The first part it's classic sci-fi. It's wonderful, and then it just goes to Geonosis and it devolves from there.
Was Geonosis too long of a act?
Totally, but it was also an incredibly boring planet. It's basically just it's an anthill. The whole planet is an anthill, and the characters were boring. There are way too many people in the battle.
Yeah.
Too many lightsabers. It just made everything became meaningless. It's like just have one guy with a lightsaber killing a bunch of bad guys, and it's so much more effective than a million.
That's kind of a good point. It was overkill.
Oh,
and it could have just been Anakin.
I mean, that's the problem that people have with these films is that
they're like, dude, more lightsabers.
Yeah, too much overkill.
Give them all lightsabers.
That's redundant. Just overkill. There are a lot of moments of overkill in these films.
The dust stick.
Yes.
I just love using the Jedi mind power for for recovery.
Oh, she is hot for teacher.
Shit,
right
that
there.
hurt me when I heard that. Please don't look at me like that, you pervert. He said.
He's still a Padawan. Hold
on a minute.
Excuse me.
He's still a Padawan. Don't listen to him.
There's some places up there that are very isolated.
Now, if you want to talk about bad acting, I think we could talk about Natalie Portman.
Don't listen to him. He's a fucking Padawan. Excuse me.
Oh, bad. I think
you don't think she was good?
I think that if anybody should be blamed for bad acting in these films, it is Natalie Portman.
That
not
is a
Hayden,
hot take.
Not Hayden Christensen. No.
That's a hot take.
I mean, did you just hear that?
What'd she say? That was
Excuse
so
me, but
he's a Padawan.
She's not selling it for me at all. It'd be like, excuse me, or
he's a Padawan. You know
Yeah.
what? Maybe they could have recast her into somebody else.
No, it needed to be her. She looked so iconically beautiful.
Yeah.
In these films.
I know. I did have a huge crush on her.
She was so young.
Yeah,
I mean, do you realize she was maybe 16 or something in that first one?
I did not know that.
Oh,
I thought she was in her 20s.
No, she was a kid.
Okay.
She was a kid.
But yeah, I think, and I'm wondering as a director, don't you say like, hey, let's back that up, let's retry that. But the writing, again, we're not trying to make, a Scorsese movie here. This is going to be, the line delivery this is moving the story along because the stories were very convoluted.
They were.
I mean, you had this trade federation thing going on that nobody, as me as an 8-year-old, did not understand what that was.
Or care about.
I didn't give a crap what that was, but I just wanted to see lightsaber.
Yeah, I mean, I think essentially what happened is George Lucas became too much of a dad.
Yeah, he did.
He had so much success in the 80s, and it became very... Yeah, he was untouchable. Everything he touched turned to gold. I think that his success also became very corporate and business-oriented and not so much creative-oriented. Now, having said that, he's a creative genius, granted, but I think for years, maybe a 10-year period, he really wasn't that focused on creative endeavors, but rather more producing and executive endeavors. Right? And so suddenly he wakes up in 1994, starts to write the script for this thing. He's been in dad mode for a decade.
I know.
He's been in dad mode and not focusing on his creative output. I mean, yes, he was involved in Indiana Jones, but it's
so
too much
to do it again.
You've been in dad mode for 10 years, kind of enjoying the fat and calves of the 80s.
100%.
The milk and
was
honey.
The master.
Yeah, the milk and honey, man. And he's been on that diet of milk and honey and just kind of playing with the kids for 10 years. And what you're thinking about? Oh, the trade federation. Oh, the stock market. Oh, the government.
Okay.
Oh, he's thinking about dad stuff.
Because he was trying to make it was kind of a political statement. I mean, some of it had a lot of undertones.
Later on, I would say for episode 2 or 3, maybe
right.
during the Bush administration.
Okay.
But this first movie, I mean, it was still in the 90s. It was Clinton. Everybody was happy, but I think the dad mode thing took over. He started to think about things too much, too technically.
Yeah,
he needed to just focus on good versus evil and make the story smaller and a little smaller in scale, and then make the characters fewer. Like, we needed fewer characters.
Right.
And we needed an older Anakin who was going through the throes of puberty, maybe, and
the love story would make so much more sense.
Yeah,
and I think the first story, the first Star Wars, it was a really simple story.
Are you talking about episode 1?
Episode 3
4.
through 6.
No, you're talking about 4, 5, 6.
Yeah, Hope and Empire. Yeah, sorry,
4, 5, 6. Yeah,
4, 5, 6.
Yeah.
It was such a simple story.
Yeah.
And it was really a family drama.
Good versus evil, family drama.
It really was. Yeah.
Yeah.
It wasn't. You're right. It wasn't that much characters.
You could get into too many bureaucratic elements, and
looking back now, I'm kind of like, oh, I like that. But it's like,
it's interesting. But I think they just overdid it.
Right. I mean, they had to because nobody knows what the hell it's about. Excuse me. The iconic. Everybody hates this.
I love this.
I know. Why does everybody hate it so much?
I think it's a great line. I think
it's
a good flirt.
You think?
I don't know if I could come up with a line that smooth, or coarse, or Sandy. I mean, I don't know. I mean, look at that.
The look.
No, that's high school.
Okay,
that's high school right there. I mean, that's what it's like.
I was beginning to wonder if you'd got my message.
This is the scene we were talking.
Just as you had requested, Master.
I was wondering if you got my message.
Then we decided to come and rescue you. We call this a diplomatic solution?
No, I call it aggressive.
I'm sorry, that was bad.
Once again, not Hayden Christensen.
See, look at her.
That's
She's
George
like so
Lucas.
confident.
That's
All
George
right.
Lucas who wrote that.
Follow that speeder!
Giving him Jedi training. Dooku.
Over the ship! I can't take Dooku alone! I need you! If we catch him, we can end this war right now! If we have a job to do! I don't care! Put the ship down! You will be expelled from the Jedi Order! I can't keep her! Come
Once again, George Lucas. This is all on George Lucas.
I don't care. I am not.
Yeah, just blame it on Hayden Christensen. You did a terrible job, even though you said the exact line how anybody else would probably say it that George Lucas wrote for you. It's really all on George Lucas if you don't like it. But once again, it's not meant to be a modern film. It's meant to be like a 1930s style type of romantic. It's not.
I'm really glad that you kind of like brought that perspective to it because I feel like that will make it better for me to watch where it's like we're getting to the story, the line delivery. It's not going to be a Scorsese, Ridley Scott. Well, Ridley Scott's kind of like this, but
Well, I mean, once again, like Wes Anderson films, they have a very particular style.
Exactly.
If anybody else did it, they'd be saying, "Oh, you're just doing a Wes Anderson style film."
You're right.
This is his own style.
And Star Wars was like that. The original, New Hope was like, "Do you know my father?" It was like that too.
He was a little more cinematic than a lot of films at the time, sure. Yeah, because the
hell it
70s had a lot of edgy films.
It did.
For sure.
Cannibal Island. I've never seen that, but I've heard that. Final thoughts on the prequels. I'm sure there's more to come on this. But
I mean, this is we could talk. We probably could talk about each movie in detail.
I think we do need to actually go through episode 3 itself, because that movie still remains for me top 10.
I love that film.
Yeah, Revenge of the
love
Sith.
that film. It's wonderful, and I think some people walked out of the cinema. They hated it
I
so
didn't
much.
know. Really? Was there? What was there?
The thing that people hated so much was the no, at the end, the Darth Vader thing. And
I hate you. I say that all the time. You were the chosen one.
Yes.
That film single-handedly really shifted the theaters into the digital age, because they wouldn't play it if it was on digital. There was a lot that was happening with that movie off screen that people.
I mean, these films are amongst the most influential films ever made, whether or not you completely hate them or love them.
Do you remember when it came out, where you everybody had to go? I remember the day
I had a Revenge of the Sith shirt, I think months in advance of the film. Months in advance of the film.
I don't know why that's so good.
Oh, it was a big deal.
It's so funny.
I was pretty excited, and I remember I went and saw it with my cousin, and loved it. No,
Did he love
Stuart.
it?
I saw it with
Oh,
Stuart.
Stuart. Okay.
Yeah, I loved it.
Okay, that is so good.
But what can I say? I mean, what kind of summary do you want me to say here?
I don't know. Just kind of. I mean, looking back 20 years later, bad or good?
Good.
Right.
For sure.
Do you think you would have said that 10 years ago?
I've said it the entire time.
Right.
I've always liked these films. From when they came out to 10 years ago, I still love them to now. I always liked them. I always saw the good in them.
That's cool, because I don't think a lot of people. I think a lot of people came around, and I'm one of them.
Episode 1 has a lot of flaws, and Episode 2 has not as many flaws, but quite a lot of flaws. Episode 3 is just fantastic. My favorite is Episode 3. What I will say about Episode 1 just quickly is that it really needed some script revision. It needed just a different creative direction in general, if you were to ask me. He made it work. It's a beautiful film. The film stock they use, I mean, it just looks gorgeous. Yeah. The way they captured it. It was actually on film, and then these other two were digital. They're fully digital.
Wow.
Yeah. And
that looks digital.
And but they still managed to look pretty good, though, for how early digital this was.
Yeah.
I think there's only one scene in Episode 1 that was digital. I don't even know what scene it was, but anyway, so Episode 1 really needed some script revisions. It's still a beautiful film, but it's way too slow. Yeah. It's way too convoluted. Jar Jar Binks, at the end of the day, as much as I kind of want to love him, he is problematic. What I'll say about Episode 2 is that the first hour is fantastic. I love the first hour of this film.
Yeah.
It is just beautiful. The scene in Coruscant where he's hanging onto the glider, and just go. Then they're going on this.
Yes.
I mean, that is so cool. That is like something out of my dreams. That's what sci-fi should be.
Right. I know.
And the bounty hunter with the weird parasitic.
Oh, we all wanted to see more of that.
Oh gosh,
because I was like, this is like the Star Wars lore that we always wanted.
Yes, that's sci-fi. You need little poisonous creatures. And
I know, exactly. Because why would he do that as the assassin?
You need to be hanging on to something in space. You need to be flying through the sky on something like that. That was true sci-fi. The second hour. Do you have any more time?
Yeah, no, we're good.
The second hour or hour and a half or whatever of Episode 2 is terrible. Geonosis was awful.
Now I want to watch that again.
Just awful.
And try to like it.
I think it was just
because I remember it being boring too.
Super boring.
After you saw the Clone Wars in Act 2. He saw the clones, and then Act 3, he was in Geonosis. Or they all were.
Yeah, they're in Geonosis, yeah.
Because the Clone Wars, him seeing the clones was cool.
Yeah, that was all right.
The alien. That was kind of weird. You were like, what the fudge am I watching?
Everything was sort of so whitewashed. It was an interesting... It was very early 2000s in terms of the aesthetic. And then Episode 3, I think the whole thing is great. Some people have qualms about certain lines. Or
the double blue lightsaber battle was so iconic.
I just think that, well, no, it wasn't double blue at the end.
I think they both had blue lightsabers.
I don't think so.
I thought they did.
No, I think they changed.
He had green. I know Anakin had. Oh, maybe he didn't. You're right.
He didn't have red at the end?
No, they both had he was so good.
I thought it was blue and green at least.
He was still good. No, yeah, it was double blue.
But episode 3 is a masterpiece. It's one of the great films of the 2000s. I don't know what else I can possibly say other than just praise it.
I want to wait because I think we'll have to do a special episode on that. I think it deserves that.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, Ian McDiarmid, I think that's how you pronounce his name.
Who's that?
He's Palpatine.
Oh my God! Don't even use the line yet.
No, I'm not using it.
Again. I love him so much. We're gonna do it.
Do it.
Do it.
We're gonna watch just clips of him because he's like my favorite.
He's a genius.
Yeah.
He brought that Shakespearean quality to the film.
Oh, that really was so special.
Yeah, he's amazing.
I couldn't agree more. Guys, Tom and Tyler signing out here. No name for the show. Hope you enjoyed it. Like and subscribe.